Jody Mitic scheduled, the Innes Ward Counsellor, Jody Mitic, and I think many are familiar with his story and his service to this country in Afghanistan, the terrible injury that he suffered, losing a good portion of his legs in 2007, yet he has just championed so much for so many. And most recently, or one of his most recent endeavors, was to jump into our phenomenal run here for the 22 Push-Up Challenge. And as I wrote on Facebook earlier today, for any of you that are on social media, certainly Facebook, it's exploded. We're trying to get it out as much as we can on Twitter, and Wounded Warrior Canada has been great, and it's really taken off across the country. It's been just amazing to watch. Jody Mitic and Jeff Walker getting Jody involved about 10 days ago or so. And I contacted Jody and asked him to come on, talk a little bit about PTSD, the reality of it, what he went through a little bit, but then also him jumping in to support our cause. Getting the video of that Jeff did was awesome. And I just thought, I want to keep the momentum going. I have a little corner of the world here, as I call it, on Saturdays for a couple of hours. And in the summer months, as we deviate from hockey a little bit, as you know, if you're a regular listener, we go as much hockey as we still can. And we have lots for you today, too. But when we can deviate a little bit, we do. And we're going to do that today, hopefully at the bottom of the hour with Jody. If we can reach him, he's agreed to come on as well. So looking forward to that. Welcome back to it, everybody. Ultimate Hockey Show, bottom of the hour here, taking it right through till 1 o'clock. And just keeping things going on the awareness front, if you will, for our little challenge. 22 push-ups in 22 days. The website is 22pushups.ca. Check it out, please, if you get a chance. And you can donate directly to Wounded Warriors. And, we have a former Wounded Warrior on the line right now who's made quite a splash here in this city in the last few years, to say the very least, from the amazing race to a number of different things publicly, but also running in and winning the Innes Ward in the last election. I ran in that election as well in the Osgood Ward. Did not manage to get on council with Jody Mitic, but I'd like to welcome him to the show here right now. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning, Liam. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us some time. I know your schedule's been really hectic, but I when I saw you on with Jeff Walker on the videos that surfaced on social media a few weeks ago, I had to reach out to you. So I really appreciate you jumping on today. The PTSD awareness that our little bit, and now that's gone nationally, trying to bring this to the country and everywhere for that matter. What does that mean to somebody like you, Jody, given what you went through?
The 22 push-up challenge came out of the States, where they estimate they lose 22 veterans a day to suicide. They have a massive number of veterans down there. It's completely plausible. Up here, we have our issues. I've buried a few friends, and we're constantly hearing about veterans and first responders that unfortunately decide to take their own life. And for me, what I like is that we're seeing civilians or people not from the community of the first responders and the military community. You guys are picking up the ball and running with it. Jeff's a real estate agent, our friend Jeff Walker.
Yeah.
Toscano Walker Realty. He's a civilian and he's doing this and he's making a big deal out of it. He's out with the Red Blacks team, and he's out with the cheerleaders. You've got me and the MP Andrew Leslie, who's former commander of the Army, from my riding out, and he's chasing after this to make everyone aware, because in our community we're well aware. So me and all my brothers and sisters that were in uniform doing this challenge, which we all have, is great. But we need you guys to do it. We need the civilian population to understand what the military and the first responders go through, just to keep Canada the way it is.
Can you speak at all, Jody, without don't want to go back over it, but your injury, has it happened? I think it was 2007. Just the years, was it? What was your immediate, how did you deal with that even in the aftermath? 6 months, 8 months, 12 months. Is it comparable? Was it post-traumatic? Was it just the fact that the status of the injury itself? How could you comment?
They say losing a limb, regardless of the circumstance, is like losing a close member of the family. So I guess I was grieving two members of my family after the accident. I also, had my we called it's called an OSI, operational stress injury. And that's completely expected, right? There's a certain amount of expected mental trauma that comes from physical injury. So I went through all that, but I started talking about what happened to me very early on. I started telling people, I think CBC, Rick McInnes-Ray, his show, which was on back then, he was the first reporter that interviewed me on what happened, and I just kept telling my story. And I think I managed to avoid PTSD that way.
Right.
I've been to several psychologists and psychiatrists, and now I still have my moments, and I still do struggle a little bit. During my recovery, I did become addicted to OxyContin, and I had to shake that monkey off my back. I did go through depression, of course, losing what I thought was my whole identity post-injury. I loved being a sniper and a soldier, and I still would love to be doing it. So I had to deal with all that, but I suppose I tried also to look at what my future could be, and what's the I managed to have kids, and this great woman has saved me again, Alana. She's was the medic that helped save me in Afghanistan, and she found me in Petawawa and helped me there again. And so I learned you got to have a team, and you can't do it all on your own either, so it's not an easy thing. And I'm, like I said, unfortunately, a few of my friends have gone the other way. I've never had suicidal thoughts, so I can't speak on what they're going through.
Right.
But what I do want to do is stop them from doing these things.
Right.
The world is a much better place with them in it. A great saying I heard once was, "You didn't survive everything you've been through to die now. You're meant to live." And we need to convince those that are feeling the pain. And it's not just first responders and military either. There's plenty of normal everyday folks that go through this mental pain, and we have to figure out a way to let them, reach out for help.
Well, it's a great point. And you look at the Do It for Darren initiative after what the Richardson family went through. So, great point. And I do think there's some similarities there that can be picked up in that vein and almost champion a couple of causes, if you will. And if it's fueled through this particular, which really, I don't know if you've been online at all, Jody, if you've been on social media at all in the last 72 hours, but this is, it's really exploding. I mean, it's great. It's really going coast to coast. It's been picked up on a lot of media, and there's a lot of people are doing their push-ups, and we're over $10,000 in day 15.
And that's amazing, and that's what I mean. For me, the part that about this that I'm really loving is that these are civilians and just normal everyday folks that are doing this. Because, like I said, we're very aware of our issues in our own military and first responders communities. We need everyone else to realize it too. And just to touch on the point that everyone has probably someone in their life that's dealing with these demons in their head. As a society, I think we're starting to round a corner where we accept that mental health is just as important as physical health.
Yeah.
I can walk into the Shoppers Drug Mart down the street here and ask the pharmacist for all kinds of medical advice and about medicine and what can I take for this ache or that pain or this flu-like symptom. Who do I go and ask about if I'm feeling blue? There's no walk-in clinic for mental health, and but we can go to the walk-in clinic if we sprain our ankle or anything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start to get to the point where we accept that mental health is just as important as physical health, and that reaching out and asking for help is not something that's going to ostracize you or isolate you. You ever we see the tragedies that sometimes happen at someone's work. And they go, oh, he was such a great guy, right up until he was crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, there's no in between, if you do sprain your ankle, I obsess about ankles now, Liam, since I don't have them. So if you sprain your ankle and show up at work in crutches, it's very obvious that you have a problem. and everyone can talk about it. Oh, what happened? I rolled it playing softball, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you showed up and you said, "Man, I'm just not feeling happy," you're almost treated like you have a disease, a contagious disease.
Like what? Yeah.
Like, oh,
yeah.
wow. Yeah, I don't want to get whatever you have because I'm happy, right? There's no middle ground. You're either normal or you're crazy, or you're normal or you're depressed, right? We don't allow people to have a day off because they need a moment to themselves, or they need to go and find some peace. And I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not trying to criticize anyone. I'm just trying to point out what I've seen and what I've observed.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted you on. I wanted to talk about that. I think you've really expressed it very well, to be honest. Jody Mitic, counselor for Innes Ward, joining us for a couple of minutes. And just before we let you go, Jody, just a couple of the things I wanted to talk to you about, given what you were in the military, what you did for us, for this country. What about the movie American Sniper? What'd you think of it?
The American Sniper movie?
Yeah, with Chris.
I think... I talked to Chris Kyle, that was the American Sniper. I met his commander, his Navy SEAL commander, and I asked him because Iraq and Afghanistan were very different war zones.
Okay.
And so I asked him, I said, is that movie like what your experience? And he said it was very similar, but as far as Chris's story is there. His military record is undisputable. He was an amazing sniper and a great Navy SEAL. The parts that made me laugh was a lot of the sniper training.
Yeah.
And that's just me because I know it's kind of like it'd probably be like being a radio show host and watching what was that one show? I can't remember, but there's always things that are going to be done for Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the movie itself actually, wasn't that bad. There's a few good movies out there for folks that wonder. Black Hawk Down, Lone Survivor, and maybe even Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Even though that's a World War II generation, some of them really do touch on what it's like to be a soldier or a trooper. In Chris Kyle's case, and as far as the movie goes as a sniper, it's pretty close. I guess is the answer to your question.
Well, what about the whole experience, the Amazing Race, and somebody on Twitter mentioned as well, the Trailer Park Boys podcast apparently or something you're on. What about stuff like that as you've had a chance to partake? How's that been?
Well, Liam, this is where the new Jody, realizes how great and amazing his life is. I was extremely depressed, and I do have my days. I had one the other day where I go, I should be a sniper, I should be a soldier, and you got to go through that. But I have two beautiful daughters. Like you just said, I'm friends with the Trailer Park Boys. I get to travel around and meet folks and talk about this stuff and make them more aware. I'm the counselor for Innes Ward. I have 40,000 constituents that I get to serve and continue to serve my country that way. I have a great house. I just have a great life. And it's always an adventure, and I don't know what's going to be tomorrow, and I can't wait to find out. And that's the way I want to keep living. And that's also like we've been saying, the message we need to get across to anyone having thoughts of harming themselves. The world is much better with you in it.
Yeah,
and we need them to realize that. And like I said, I've never had those thoughts, but I just love my life, to be frank.
Last one for you, Jody. You've touched on it. I did as well. You did win and run and win in the Innes Ward. I ran in Osgood Ward and finished fourth out there. It was an unbelievable experience for me, door knocking and being in front of people talking about their day-to-day and what affects them, as opposed to being in front of a crowd talking hockey. Was a vastly different thing for me. You were fortunate enough that you got in. What's it been like for you in there? Is it been what you expected? Is it better, worse? How have you found it?
It's better in many ways. The one thing that really surprised me was, I had folks telling me, "Oh, it's going to be very busy. You're going to take up a lot of your time," and I'd say things like, "Man, I deployed to war. I was punched into work for 6 months straight." It's actually really amazing how much time you can spend on this job and not realize you can start your day at 7 and end at 8 p.m. if you want.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you have to. But, man, the time commitment has been was the one real big surprise, just because there's so much to know and learn, and you're never done learning and knowing everything that's happening in the city. And then you have your responsibilities as, for me, it's sports commissioner, and I sit on the Community Protective Services Committee. I sit on the environmental, the transportation committee, and as well I sit on the housing board. Even though we don't have any community housing, Ottawa community housing in Innis Ward, we have Gloucester housing. It's something that's important to me, so I sit on that board as well. And it's great. Last night I walked out my door, went across the street to the park. We had the annual Chapel Hill South Summer Sizzler going on.
Yep.
And I'm with all my neighbors and all my constituents, so I get to walk around and shake hands and meet people and listen to any issues that are going on in neighborhoods and the ongoing issues that are going on in the ward, and everybody's very friendly. We have our police and our firefighters were out there last night, and the kids were getting to see them, and I see them as our troops now. Our first responders are our troops, and they know I'll always back them up no matter what's going on.
Yep.
And it's a great feeling. I'm in a unique position to have sworn allegiance to the Queen twice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very well said, Jody. Very well said, the entire thing. I knew you'd hit a home run here for us, and you most certainly did, my friend. Listen, continued success on that great life you've got going. You're championing many causes, and you have already for many people what you've done, not only prior to 07, but especially since, I'd say. And I hope some people were able to pick up on that through your words here today. And we'll continue to drive. Our goal was 22,000 by December 22nd. I think we're going to blow that out of the water for Wounded Warriors Canada. And my God, you exemplify that, Jody. So thank you for your time today.
No problem, Liam. You keep it up.
All right, buddy. I will for sure. And thank you for your service to this country, my friend. I really want to say that too. Thank you, Jody.
I appreciate your support. Have a great weekend, brother.
Okay, buddy. You too.
Take care.
Bye-bye. There he goes, Jody Mitic, who is the counselor for Innis Ward, among many other hats that he has worn in his lifetime. I sure hope that resonated with people. Every little bit, right? You never know who's listening, and every little bit that can shake a foundation of negativity and turn your day into a positive thought for a second, maybe by listening to a guy who lost his legs in a landmine in that war in Afghanistan in 2007, and look what he's done. So, you know what? The day's pretty good for many of us, and he can certainly speak to that tenfold. Let's take a quick break, come back, get you set for hour 2 here on the Ultimate Hockey Show on 1310 News.